I'm Helen.
And I'm Liz.
And we're sisters,
scientists,
and lifelong X-Files fans.
And this is We Want to Believe,
a podcast where each week we discuss a different X-Files episode as we rewatch them all from the beginning.
To introduce myself a little bit more, again, this is Liz speaking. I'm a physics lecturer at a small state university in the Midwest and co-founder of a travel company, Leaping Hound Travel, and we specialize in quirky group tours of Europe, and on a rather X-Files sort of note, we're running a trip all about vampires in London and Paris in 2023. So I definitely have that interest in spooky and monsters and stuff like that. I started watching the X-Files towards the end of its run in the late 90s, and then spent the next couple of years catching up on all the episodes I'd missed. While I was in college, me and my friends, most of whom were fellow physics majors, would watch it almost literally every night, multiple episodes. However, up until this current rewatch, I hadn't seen it in years, and I haven't seen any of the new stuff from the last decade.
And I'm a visiting assistant professor in the biology department at a small liberal arts college in the Midwest. I have my PhD in anthropology from UW-Milwaukee and my bachelor's in biology from UW-Madison. My research focuses on the gross anatomical representation of infectious diseases in human remains and how we can use DNA extraction in conjunction with more traditional bioarchaeology. Liz introduced me to the X-Files as a teenager, and I remember watching the very last episode of the original run before heading out to perform in an ice show as a teenager. I have seen nearly every episode, only having skipped those that Liz warned me would give me nightmares.
Ooh, Home? I bet you did. Did you ever see Home?
I might have watched Home with Zach in... like 10 years ago, maybe.
Fair enough.
To introduce my personal life a little bit more, you'll hear us reference Zach. That is my husband. He is also our sound engineer and producer.
So if we sound decent, that's due to
It's
Zach.
all Zach.
If we don't sound decent, it's not Zach's fault. That's on us.
And today we're starting from the beginning and talking about the pilot, which we both watched yesterday.
I want to start by talking about the very opening message.
Yes! Same! I had that same note.
With, like, this is based on real events.
I spent so much time trying to find out what that was.
Really?
Did you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was just like, huh. Did you find anything?
No.
Yeah. Is it total bullshit?
No. Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean...
From what I was able to find, and I wasn't able to find much, it seems like it was in a wave of Fox trying to make things seem more realistic. Like, it was coming out at the same time, I think it said as, like, some of the first reality TV shows, although that I should double check.
Well, Real World came out around that same time, early 90s.
Did it?
Not that the Real World and the X-Files have a lot in common. Like 6 aliens live in a house.
I would watch that.
Yeah.
Or even just like 6 scientists, frankly.
Yeah,
I feel like that would
watch,
get interesting.
I would watch that. Why is there not more reality TV with scientists?
Yeah, we can get mean.
Why?
Wow,
we got off track real fast.
Yeah, that's okay. But I'm in the midst of writing a real mean rebuttal for an article that another scientist wrote. Yeah, so new reality stuff was coming out. Mm-hmm. And Fox wanted the first episode to seem like it's possible that it could have been real.
Oh my god.
Because there are some episodes that are based on real events, but that is not one of them.
Okay, good to know.
Yes.
Because I can't imagine how it would be having seen it.
Yeah, except like, I don't know, there are people in the woods. There are teenagers in the woods in Oregon.
There have been teenagers in the woods in Oregon. It's true.
Should we give a quick episode recap?
Yeah, sounds good.
You probably know the episode better than me.
Yeah, so this is the one, I mean, it starts off with, first of all, let's talk about what it starts off with. Even before we see Mulder, we see cigarette smoking man.
Oh, yeah.
Standing right there, which if you haven't seen the X-Files, you're like, oh, it's some dude with a cigarette.
Yeah.
Ooh, he's very important later.
You're talking about in
the very opening scene when Scully is talking in that guy's office. Yeah. And so we don't see Skinner yet, but the whole premise, right, is that Scully's kind of sent in to really debunk Mulder's X-Files, his pet project with the FBI. And they go off on this case to Oregon where there's been a murder. There's these mysterious marks on the back of the murder victim. There's been similar murders. And then it turns out there was all these teens at this party in the woods this one night, and from this one, high school graduating class, I think they say 89, and all of them are having, like, the two of them are now in a mental hospital, and one of them is very, very worried. Her dad is kind of fighting with Mulder and Scully, but she's trying to go to them for protection.
Right.
Turns out Billy Miles, who's one of the people one of the teens who's in the hospital, sort of in a coma. They say he's in a waking coma, which, for any of you Arrested Development fans, I was
Buster.
Yeah, I was like, it's in a light to no coma. In layman's terms, a very heavy nap. So I was thinking of that. It turns out he's not comatose. He can walk, and he's like bringing people to aliens in the woods.
Yeah,
it was a little
maybe
unclear
we'll get
to me.
There, yeah, that I had a lot of questions about the end of that.
Yeah, and it's clear, like, somebody doesn't want Mulder and Scully to discover some stuff. They find a body in a grave, because they go to exhume the grave of the murder victim, and there's like a orangutan body in there instead. Did that look like an orangutan?
It did.
Oh,
I
good.
actually, before Scully even said it, I was like, I gotta know this, and I was like, I bet that's an orangutan. And then Scully said some sort of larger ape or orangutan possibly, and I was like, yes.
So that's good.
Okay,
That's good.
so going back to the beginning,
yeah,
I forgot Mulder was a psychologist.
Me too.
Did you?
Yes.
I totally forgot, which is funny. One of my very good friends has a master's in forensic psychology.
Oh.
So she's basically Mulder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot Scully did her undergrad in physics, even though she's a medical doctor.
Oh, that I remembered, because you're in physics.
I was like, a new interpretation of Einstein's twin paradox.
Oh, yeah, what did that mean?
I don't know.
Is it garbage?
No, his twin paradox isn't garbage.
Oh,
The
I know.
idea that somebody would do that is...
In college?
It sounds like something that a writer would think sounds really impressive, but is not, like... That's not cutting-edge physics stuff. It's not a thing. So, do you know what the twin paradox is?
No.
So, basically, it's this idea, right? If we're going close to the speed of light, time dilation happens, and so the idea is you've got two twins. One of them goes up in a rocket ship and goes real, real fast, close to the speed of light, and then they come back, and let's say now their twin on Earth is 30 years older. 30 years have passed on Earth, but the twin who was in the spaceship, only 2 years have passed. And so that's the paradox that, the suggestion of time dilation implies. It's real. It also kind of contradicts later in the episode when Scully's like, time's a universal invariant. And I was like, did you just talk about the twin paradox?
So
on the
is
other
time
hand,
not a universal invariant?
well, no, like that's kind of the whole deal, is that if you're going at different speeds, you experience time differently. Now, that absolutely would not explain what happened where they lose time, that they lose 9 minutes in the car. I mean, no, that's not normal. But but yeah, no, it's
that doesn't happen to you.
No, yeah, physicists just make time disappear.
Yeah, I was trying to work the other day.
Yeah, but yeah, no. So I was just kind of like, that sure sounds like somebody who wants this to sound real impressive. But I mean, I don't know. It's I don't know how to explain that it isn't something someone would look into now. It's like, we have proof that this happens. It's a real thing. We see it with particles.
How fast do you have to be going for that to start happening? I mean, like, if I'm driving 80 miles an hour?
No.
Okay.
You would not notice it. You can start to notice the effects with, like, the fastest jets that we have on Earth. You could maybe see it in terms of, like,
really?
fractions of seconds, though.
Okay.
Not, like, years.
Whoa.
But where we really see it is with particles and particle accelerators, where I swear I won't talk about this for too long. Don't turn this off, people listening.
It's okay. I've got chemistry stuff coming up.
I wanted to ask about that. Yeah.
Finish what you were saying, though.
With particles and particle accelerators, there's particles that will decay and so only exist in a current form really, really briefly, teeny tiny fraction of a second.
Okay.
But we accelerate them. They go really fast. And then, if you will, from the particles' perspective, they're still existing for this teeny tiny fraction of a second, but a longer time is passing here on Earth, so we get more time with them, if you will.
Does that freak them out?
No.
Okay.
It seems normal to them.
Okay.
Sure. No, but I mean, like, in reality,
Yeah.
they don't experience anything because they're particles.
No,
but
I
if
know.
the question of...
I'm just picturing them with smiley faces.
Well, they wouldn't if like going back to the twin paradox,
Right.
it feels normal. You experience
Right,
time
they're the
normally.
twin who's going fast, and so yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it freaks me out.
Yeah.
So Scully meets Mulder, and he said something along the lines of, "How's your chemistry, Scully?" And I immediately was like, "Oh shit." Oh no, how's my chemistry? And he showed the molecule. So apparently they found this unknown molecule that was in the weird marks that showed up on the students who were turning up dead. And they show like Scully looking at it, and in my head I'm going, it's organic. And she goes, it's organic. And I was like, okay, good. And then she said something about it being a synthetic protein.
Yeah.
And so this is, and again, this is just like someone didn't quite think things through. I paused it so that I could look at like an actual, I could look at it for a bit. And it is protein shaped. So we're going to talk about some organic chemistry.
I never took organic chemistry, by the way.
Yeah, you took chemistry, right?
I did. I was just talking about this. I can't remember the name of the dude I had for chemistry in college. He was a fantastic teacher.
Oh,
and
really?
I said, if anyone could make me like chemistry, it's him. But I still don't. So I took the bare minimum. I took 2 semesters of chemistry, which is not that much for a lot of physics majors. I did not take organic. Yeah.
Do most people take more?
A lot of a lot of physics majors ended up opting to minor in either math or chemistry. I minored in women's studies. Not as many classes in common. So.
I could have minored in chemistry, but I would have had to take physical chemistry, and I refused. So proteins are made up of amino acids.
Okay.
That you're probably familiar with.
I knew that.
Yeah. And amino acids are made up of kind of 3 larger parts. So there's, you're looking skeptical at me.
No, not skeptical. I'm trying to remember things. What I really, this isn't like with the letters, the like
letters.
G.
Oh, no.
That's something else, right?
That's how mRNA codes for proteins, codes for amino acids.
I did a lab in high school where we built those with different flavored mini marshmallows. And so anytime I talk about those, I taste mini marshmallows. What is that?
Oh.
How old am I? 25 years later? Yeah. So I was like, are these the marshmallows? No? Oh, okay. Then I don't know.
I'm actually this week having my students build a molecule of DNA from anything in their dorm rooms.
Oh my God, that's awesome. What if they use like beer cans?
Yeah, that's fine. I told them to just not buy anything, but use so someone used a bunch of like different flavors of ramen one year.
Oh my God, that's
awesome.
And
people have used like granola bars and hair products, and it's really fun.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so amino acids are made up of 3 larger subunits. There's an amine group or amine group.
Okay.
Amino.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a nitrogen and hydrogens. There's an oxygen, and then there's an R group. And the R just stands for something else. Like, so everything has that, those 2 units in common, but then they differ. Amino acids differ based on their R group.
Okay.
And so the molecule that they show is basically a protein, but it just has R on it.
Okay.
And like, if they're able to sense, if whatever they used, mass spec or something, to tell what that molecule was, and they're able to tell that it has the basic structure of a protein, I don't know why they can't tell the R group. Like, it's like, that shouldn't be a mystery. It's not anything usually other than like, other configurations of organic molecules. It would be like, this is not a perfect analogy, but it would be like someone being like, I have this list of people that did this thing, and it has a bunch of first names, and then it just says like last name, last name, last name, last name. Like, it's the generic formula for a protein.
Oh, okay. I can kind of see that.
Yeah, but like no one would do that.
But if they can find out the first name, why couldn't they know the last name?
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the whole point. The whole point is the R group.
Okay.
Like, that's what tells you what amino acid it is, and therefore what protein it is, because chains of amino acids make proteins.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's basically useless. It
Okay.
tells you absolutely nothing about it. Except that it's probably some sort of protein.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it possible that Scully was like, well, it's some sort of protein, and she's thinking, because they didn't do it right, I don't know?
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
I think I'm always going to, I want to like try to find ways to explain, except I can't with the physics thing. So, you know, I was going to say, I want to find ways to explain things that are probably weaknesses in the writing about the science and be like, oh no, we can explain it like this.
Yeah.
I really quickly, because I don't want to forget, I want to mention that I was prepared to be like, wow, the clothes look so dated.
Same! And they actually looked less dated.
They look good. We're at that weird point in time. I liked her blazer. It was legitimately cute, like, checked blazer that she's wearing in the first scene. It kind of reminds me of the one you have.
The one that, exactly.
Yeah.
No, that was my next note, is that I remember, like, 10 or 15 years ago, watching these and thinking like, oh my gosh, she looks so much more stylish in the recent episodes.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I can't wait to see what she looks like in the recent episodes, because I feel like she looks really stylish.
Yeah.
And
like, absolutely.
Her, one of her coats I really liked when they're like out in the woods and kind of like cinches around the waist. And her hair looks nice.
Her hair looks nice.
Her makeup looks nice. Like, I thought,
I absolutely. Yeah. I was surprised. Also, having not watched this in years, I knew that Gillian Anderson was younger when she filmed this than Scully's meant to be. She was 23, I think.
Oh my God,
when
was she really?
Out. Yeah, and so given that I'm now 40, I thought, well, she's going to look like a kid. She really doesn't, though.
No,
she
doesn't.
comes off, like, they do a good
30s.
job of seeming like, late 20s, early 30s, whatever. Someone who it's reasonable that she's a medical doctor. Like,
yeah.
So, again, I was prepared for one thing and then pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So then they go to Oregon, and they both have their own row of seats, which I found very 1992, 1993.
Yeah.
Maybe. I never flew.
I never flew then either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it certainly is not 2022.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're flying a couple months ago when no one was traveling.
Yeah, that too.
But, I found the flight thing unsettling, but of course, there's turbulence and it looks kind of scary, and Mulder's like, oh, we're here, or something like that, and I feel like, so is that supposed to be related, or am I supposed to be like, oh, every flight that comes into Oregon does something really weird because of aliens? I don't know.
I've been to Oregon. I
should have. Nothing.
Nothing.
I had the absolute best vegan chicken wings of my entire life. Good
Really?
enough that I've thought maybe I should fly there again just for the chicken wings. I ate them for breakfast on my last day there because I needed to have them one more time.
I had a dream. I am both vegetarian and gluten-free. The vegetarian is by choice. The gluten-free is very much not. And I have been, maybe someone will hear this and will be able to help me. I am on a search for actually good gluten-free vegetarian chicken nuggets because I miss the Morningstar ones and the Boca ones so much. And I had a dream last night that I was standing in the grocery store looking for them.
Oh, God.
It was really depressing.
Yeah, so that's really what I know. I've been to Oregon once.
Yeah.
I ate some really, really good vegan chicken wings, and that's it.
Yeah.
There was no creepy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So they get to Oregon.
Mm-hmm. Get into a bit of a fight at the grave site of the victim that they're exhuming.
And I kind of felt like, fair enough. They, like, dropped a coffin, and it, like, spills open. I feel like...
I'd be pissed, too.
Be better at your job, coffin lifters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I did think that part was reasonably representative of
exhuming graves?
Yeah. Yeah. If you know where it is, you can use bigger digging equipment like that.
Okay.
If you're lucky.
Okay.
Unless your supervisor doesn't want you to for some reason, and then you spend hours and hours digging 2 meters down with a spade or a trowel.
I feel like we'll see that in other episodes, but I could be wrong. I feel like something about digging to exhume a grave is ringing a bell, but it could be any number of shows that I've watched. It might not be X-Files.
Yeah. Well, or it could just be any number of X-Files episodes.
Yeah, so it's a baboon. No, not a baboon. An orangutan.
Orangutan.
And that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Mulder seems to think it's an alien at first.
Yeah.
Which I feel like, look, I don't know bodies,
Yeah,
but it seems pretty clear that that's some sort of ape to me. And where do we go from there? They visit the mental hospital.
Yeah, they visit Billy Miles and Peggy Odell.
Yeah.
Right? And notice that, was it Peggy who also has those weird marks on her back?
Yeah.
And then later at one point, this I know people always talk about, the fact that you see Scully in her underwear in that episode and then like never kind of do again.
Yeah, and she's like afraid because she's got the mosquito bites. Very not Scully.
Very not Scully. And also like those don't look like mosquito bites.
No.
Like they show them and I was like, no, I would not think those were mosquito bites.
Yeah.
And also like Scully is in her 20s or 30s and a medical doctor. And, like, I don't think she's dumb enough to not know what mosquito bites are.
Yeah, I feel like that's got to be something with the pilot. So, so she, after seeing the marks, she gets it on Peggy Odell and on the victim, not on the victim, because that's an orangutan, but pictures of that, thinking about the marks, she finds what turns out to be mosquito bites. So her and Mulder are in 2 different hotel rooms, and she rushes over to him, and she's all freaked out.
Yeah.
And he reassures her. And the whole thing felt very non-Scully.
Yeah.
Because she's very not easily scared. And it seemed like maybe just one of those things with a pilot where they haven't fully figured out the character. And also in kind of a icky, traditionally gendered way. Like, yeah.
And then they spend time talking in Mulder's hotel room.
Yeah.
And he talks about how his sister disappeared when he was 12 and she was 8.
Yeah.
And how they never found out what happened to her. And how he was there when it happened. I think he went into that.
Yeah, they talk about, I wanted to bring this up actually, he mentions getting regression hypnosis and recovering memories.
Yes.
And, I mean, so this is early 90s, so kind of just a little bit after the whole satanic panic thing.
Yeah, yes, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, and I was thinking, like, now I would look at recovered memories with a real big grain of salt that, like, people can create memories real easily, you know? Like, there's studies where they like made people create memories of getting lost at Disney World as a child. Really? Yeah, they were like able to make people think that happened to them. And I mean, and then of course there's all sorts of
try because I know I wasn't, but I also know I was at Disney World as a child.
Actually, you were lost at Disney World.
I was?
No. Yeah, so I feel like the malleability of I'm not 100% sure I pronounced that right, but I can definitely spell it.
Yeah.
But like of memory is, I feel like, much more recognized now than it was then. So I feel like, okay, Mulder recovered memories. Am I meant to take that 100% seriously and be like,
I think we were.
Yeah. So.
But it was very 90s of it.
Yes.
Like, yes. Yeah, absolutely. That was such a, like, big thing that people were thinking. What was that what is the name of that book all about recovering memories of the satanic panic? I listened to a podcast about it. Michelle Remembers? Was that the name of it?
I don't know.
Have you heard of that?
I feel like I've heard of it. I haven't read it. I haven't listened to a podcast about it.
So I listened to You're Wrong About, and it's with Sarah Marshall, and it was with Michael Hobbs, and I think one of these episodes about Michelle Remembers was with both of them. Michael Hobbs is one of the hosts of Maintenance Phase now.
I've heard that's really good.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And Aubrey Gordon is the other, and I love them both so much.
Okay. These are names.
Yes.
It should be mentioned that Helen knows a lot of podcasts, listens to a lot of podcasts. I listened to the first season of Serial, and like everyone else on Earth.
And you listen to Ologies sometimes.
I do listen to Ologies sometimes. Yeah.
They have one about carnivores that's new that I want to listen to. It's called Lions and Tigers and Bears.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
So anyhow.
Michelle Remembers. Yeah. So it's all about basically regression hypnosis. I believe I'm probably getting this wrong, but I listened to these episodes about it a while ago, and about how essentially this woman named Michelle does some sort of psychological or hypnotic thing and remembers all this like satanic abuse that she suffered as a child, and essentially it's a huge deal. I want to say this was 80s or 90s, and people are all about it.
Yeah.
And And then it's eventually disproven.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
A very sort of Sybil-like story.
Yeah. I feel like, I bet that's not the last time that there's science that was taken super seriously at the time that is not now. So we'll see. But yeah, that stood out to me. I also didn't remember that those were recovered memories, because later in the series we see a lot of flashbacks to the night that Mulder's sister Samantha is abducted, and Mulder's there, and it looks like he's just there, and he just, like, I thought those were, I remembered, if you will, I remembered those as just Mulder's memories, not something he had to have uncovered or whatever.
Yeah, and now that I'm thinking about it, did they say where he was or what he thought happened before he recovered his memories?
I don't think they say it in this episode.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought that was interesting, though.
Yeah.
Then they end up going to the cemetery at night while it's raining.
Yes, of course they do.
Which I am a biological archaeologist, and I have yet to have that sort of grave excavating emergency that required me to be there immediately at night in the rain.
Yeah, and speaking of emergencies, I also noticed that Mulder tells Scully the first day they're working together, we're going to Oregon tomorrow morning. And, like, I feel like if someone told me I had to travel tomorrow, well, I guess
you're not
if it was somewhere fun, I would be like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be like, hi, I just met you. Okay, I guess I have to find a dog sitter now or whatever.
Yeah,
so
she doesn't have Queequeg yet.
She doesn't have Queequeg yet, but...
I can't wait until we get to Queequeg, though.
Oh, God.
I know.
I don't know.
We won't think about that yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so somehow...
Right, they're in the rain.
Yeah.
Dude with the gun shows up and is like, you're on private property.
Right. No, that was when they were in the woods.
You're right. I'm mixing things up.
Yes, they just kind of end up standing around at the graveyard, not actually doing anything. Yeah. And again, I mean, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
What is the right? Yeah. They see that a bunch of the other graves have been exhumed from the victims, but like
sometime around then is when their hotel rooms are lit on fire and the lab notes about the orangutan are destroyed.
Yeah,
and
which I want to get into because I have a lot of questions about what the whole point of that was.
Yeah,
like why did they even bother to replace the bodies with orangutans? Was it because they were lifted in? Are we supposed to think that it's because they were taken up into a spaceship and so then they had to bury something because they didn't want to tell people that? And then also, like, where are they getting these orangutans?
Yeah. And also, so was it just for the heft? Because if you look at it, it's clearly not a human. So, and if you just need something to make the coffin heavy enough, why not some rocks?
Yeah.
Like, I definitely have some questions about that. Were the aliens sort of confused and they did it? Like, hey, close enough. Let's just do, like, the old switcheroo. And
they've got some advanced 1992 and 3 DNA technology that's like, these are pretty closely related.
Aliens, they're like, I don't see a difference.
Yeah,
I don't feel like that's very clear.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like probably with a lot of X-Files, you're able to be like, oh, there's a conspiracy. There's reasons.
Right.
You don't know right now.
Yeah.
And we probably won't ever know.
Having watched all of them now, I feel like I still don't.
No, definitely not.
I still don't really know.
No.
Yeah. That might just be an issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we get into the end of the episode where we find out that Billy has been the one doing something.
Killing them or like handing them over to the
I think so.
aliens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, how and why?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, he explains a little bit at the end. So, like, the very end of the episode, they show Billy talking to people from the FBI.
Yeah.
And, then there's a whole thing about how, well, this isn't scientifically possible and stuff.
Right,
what he's saying. And
right.
I think he was supposed to be hypnotized at the time as well, they say.
Yes.
Which, like, fair. That's not scientifically possible. But I still don't understand what he was explaining. I still don't understand why he was... So, his story is that there was a party in the woods, right?
Mm-hmm.
and something happened. I mean, we both watched this yesterday.
Yeah.
But I wasn't clear
No.
yesterday, and I was hoping you were. I was hoping maybe I just didn't understand.
Likewise. I mean, okay, I will be full disclosure. I was, at the very end of the episode, I was also grading a little bit.
Oh.
But...
and I had to keep pausing it because my children were taking a bath and being really loud.
Yeah. But still.
Yeah, no, but still.
No,
I mean,
it was not well.
And my kids were loud during the whole episode.
Right.
And I got the rest of it just fine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Well, I do know we come back to this town and some of these characters.
Yes, Billy Miles.
Yeah.
I think.
Is it later in season 1?
I don't
maybe
remember
season 2.
that.
It should be not too far along. So maybe we'll get some answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my only hope because I was very confused.
Yeah.
I don't get why he was... Well, they show him in part of this, like, lifting up someone.
The one girl.
Who was like, the medical examiner's daughter.
Yeah.
Yes, who was scared.
Yeah.
Like, about to lift her up into a bright light.
Yeah.
But then he doesn't. And why doesn't he?
I thought he was like, oh, busted. You guys saw me, so I have to stop. Except, but, like, not consciously. Like, he couldn't be seen. I don't know. I also feel like, so the aliens, they can get these people in the ship, but they need Billy to get them into the woods and lift them up. Yeah.
They have some really interesting limitations.
Yeah, exactly. And also, why is Billy in his, very heavy nap, his waking coma, and then does this without, like, knowing it or whatever?
Right.
Yeah.
Aliens, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, because
aliens.
Yeah,
but that was the first episode.
Yeah.
I did also notice that, like, did we just not care at all about smoking indoors in the 90s?
No.
Like, at all, though?
I mean, it was, there were smoking sections in restaurants.
Yeah, but, like, the cigarette smoking man...
He's just, like, smoking in the office.
Yeah. Like, was that normal?
Yeah, I think so.
Was it?
I mean, I wasn't in a lot of offices in 1992. I was 10, but I mean, like, I do think people smoked in a lot. I mean, I know people smoked in a lot more places. More places. But I wasn't in offices. Yeah.
Right. That's what seemed weird to me.
It seemed very obnoxious. Like, the window's not open, dude. You're like... I mean, so, yeah, are we meant to think, well, that's rude? I don't think so.
It's supposed to just be normal, you think?
Oh, and speaking of cigarette smoking man, at the end, he's got his little sample.
He's like,
I'll go store this in the box with my other samples in this giant warehouse.
Right.
And,
at the Pentagon.
Right.
And I'll be honest, I had to Google, what is the Pentagon? I know the Pentagon is a government building.
Yep.
And I know that it was hit during the September 11th attacks.
Yep, and it's got 5 sides.
Yes.
Because of the name.
Because it's a Pentagon. And that's, apparently that is where the Department of Defense is.
Okay.
Google tells me.
Okay.
And that it's mostly, like, offices and stuff.
Okay, and I guess creepy warehouses.
Yes.
A little bit of that.
Yes, probably. Presumably. Right. We don't know.
I will say, speaking of creepy government stuff... There's the part where they talk about, I don't think we mentioned this yet, they found an implant in the nose of
the orangutan. The orangutan. Why was that?
I don't know.
Is it not? All. Well, and so this goes back to, like, are we supposed to think it's not actually an orangutan? Like, is it supposed to be an alien, actually? And that's why they destroyed the evidence?
Orangutish? Yeah. Maybe.
Are orangutans actually aliens?
Maybe.
I mean, who's to say?
Yeah. I also, though...
a biological anthropologist.
Yeah, that's who's to say. You. I also found, like, this idea of, like, creepy secret government implants was charmingly creepy in the 90s. And now I feel like there's going to be a lot of stuff in this series that's going to make me think, oh, shit, are all of these absolute lunatic... anti-vax
that didn't even occur to me.
I mean, there's stuff with the smallpox vaccine.
Yeah, that I remembered. Like, I am waiting for the smallpox episodes. I'm waiting.
Yeah, so it makes me think, are all of the terrible people who believe all of these, like, oh, the COVID vaccine will give you, microchips.
Yeah.
Are they X-Files fans? Do they watch it
God,
and
I hope
go,
not.
do they watch it and go, makes sense. I could see that. Yeah.
It was that thing in the beginning. The following events are inspired by
Yeah,
actual...
and they were like, that applies
Oh,
to the
okay.
entire
Well,
series. And so I don't, it hits really differently now. I'm like, ew, oh no, you don't think that, do you? Because there's like real world people that do that I feel like that was
I
not
forgot about that.
thing that was in the 90s. It seemed,
No.
like delightfully like, ooh, creepy, maybe, but not in a way like, oh, because of your beliefs, lots of people are gonna die. Yeah, so.
Yeah, that didn't even occur to me when I was watching. It just hit me as it was intended back then.
Right, yeah.
Which was, it seems so unbelievable that it didn't occur to me that, I forgot blissfully for an hour about anti-vaxxers right now.
Yeah.
Not all anti-vaxxers. Some of them are anti-vaxxers for other reasons that I don't agree with, but not having to do with microchips.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a variety of reasons not to like them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the first episode. It ends, I mean, cigarette smoking man, right off the bat, there he is.
Yep. Yeah.
Scully was also a little bit less of a skeptic than I expected, because they set that up as such a dynamic in, like, when you think of the series. It's Mulder believes and Scully doesn't, but I thought she was fairly like, hey, there is some weird stuff going on, and I'm going to put that in my report,
At the beginning, though, when they're in Mulder's office talking about it, and, before they go to Oregon, she was saying some stuff about how, like, well, this has to be something relating to science or something, and I was thinking, like, I don't know, I've always identified with Scully, but I did a little bit less so then, because I felt like, I don't know, there's all sorts of weird shit that we don't understand.
I guess I would think, but isn't it just science we don't know yet?
Yeah.
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 Like, sure, Scully, you could say it's science, but we don't get it. It's maybe not understood. I don't know.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Oh, also towards the end of the episode, Scully is laying awake in bed and gets a phone call at 11:22.
Oh, close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wrote that down so we can keep track of when the phone calls happen, because they all happen at...
It's supposed to be 11:21.
11:21. It's like right as it turns 11:22.
Got it. Okay. All right.
Why 11:21?
I am gonna
Google that quick.
Yeah.
It's someone's birthday.
It's Chris. I think it's Chris Carter's birthday.
Well, that's interesting, because I have not seen this in years, and that's also Zach's birthday.
It is. Oh no, that's Chris Carter, the football player.
Oh,
I was like,
I didn't know there was one.
Apparently,
there's one Chris Carter.
That's
for me.
what.
Maybe
Chris Carter. God. Oh, Chris Carter's wife's birthday.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Is 11 what?
21.
Okay.
Okay. There we go.
So Chris Carter's wife's birthday is November 21st.
Yes.
Okay. Also, Zach Werner's birthday.
Right.
Who is my husband and our producer-ish thing.
So 11:22
yes,
is when she gets the phone call.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like a thing in X-Files that a lot of the phone calls in the middle of the night come in at 11:21, which I guess that does feel like the middle of the night to me nowadays.
I know it does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In the days that I was initially watching X-Files, I remember I'd go to my friend's dorm room and we'd think, well, we'll watch the one that comes on at 1. That's reasonable.
Oh,
but then for that second episode that starts at 2, probably we should go to bed. And then we'd be like, oh, it's a 2-parter. We got to stay up. And so then I would go back to my apartment at 3 a.m.
Oh, my God.
On a weekday.
Oh, my God. Would you go to class the next day?
I mean, I was supposed to.
Yeah.
Did I? I guess sometimes because I passed.
Yeah.
Jeez. I never had morning classes, but I mean, there was a time in my life.
Really?
Well, I mean, technically before noon, sure, but not like 8 a.m.s or anything.
Really? Never?
That's probably not true. I must have at some point, but I really avoided them. And as I got further up in physics, there weren't that many classes at 8 a.m.
God, I had like 7:45 chemistry labs.
That is disgusting.
I also had 7:45. Was it 7:45 or 8:45? It felt very early in the morning. I guess 8:45 would have felt very early in the morning to me 15 years ago.
My students at 9 a.m. seem pretty tired.
Yeah. Well, I remember you getting up to go to work when we lived together, and you would drop me off at parasitology sometimes. And that was before your work,
Yeah.
like on your way. So
yeah,
it would
so
have been.
it would have been 8:45, I would guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, there was a time in my life where I had to set my alarm clock for my 2 p.m. classes.
Yeah.
Which is sort of
I
horrifying.
mean, my
in retrospect.
TAs will talk about like holding TA hours, and they'll say things like, well, would 7 to 8 p.m. work better, or would 8 to 9 p.m. work better? And I feel like, you guys, I'm in my pajamas.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am like reading a book in bed about to take my melatonin at that time.
I feel like
I am not.
If it's after dinner, I'm putting my pajamas on. If I'm not already in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, last Saturday, I went out to get a drink with my friend Cynthia, who is the one who is a medical doctor and also has her master's in forensic psychology.
God.
And it was like we met at 7, but it was a whole big thing where I was like, okay, well, I'm going to take a nap and we'll check in and, make sure that this can happen, because leaving my house at 6:30 felt like...
It's weird, right? It's going to be dark out and you're driving.
Yeah.
Who wants to do that?
Yeah. And then I got home at 10 and was like, whoa.
Oh my God.
I was out so late.
You were.
But like, we used to not even leave the house until then.
Yeah, I remember. So I went to Northern Illinois University, which is like hour 15 minutes from Chicago, straight west, and we would be getting ready to drive into Chicago to go dancing at 10:30 at night. Yeah.
Jeez.
So this was concurrent with all the X-Files watching. It would be like weeknights, we'd stay up ungodly late watching X-Files.
Yeah.
And then weekends, go out to Chicago or something.
Yeah. I remember coming home from my astronomy class that ended at midnight.
Wow.
And watching an episode of the X-Files and then calling you to talk about it.
God.
And then like probably staying up too late reading Lord of the Rings after that, like a nerd.
Yeah.
But yeah.
To mention, I have a master's in physics. I did my master's thesis research in astrophysics and astronomy to do with the redshift of galaxy clusters. So I like astronomy. I was actually just thinking about, I was the observatory manager at Northern Illinois University for a semester when I was in graduate school, and I was real bad at it. It was a 1-year position, but I did it for a semester, and then they were like, hey, why don't you go back to TA in a lab, and we'll have someone else do this.
And that's how you got into teaching.
Terrible at it. I did get into teaching because I like being a TA so much. But I would be like, oh, it's cloudy. I guess I won't open it. As if the clouds couldn't just shift. I remember driving to Rockford to look for a stuffed skunk for a Halloween costume and being like, there's the full moon, and I'm in the car, and this is not good. And then people would go to the observatory, and it would be locked, and they would have walked up, 7 flights of stairs, and then they'd complain about me, rightfully so.
Yeah, I would have too.
Yeah. This is around the same time that I remember I set my alarm. I was like, I gotta get up early. I gotta see the sun. This is not good for me. And I had breakfast plans with someone at 9:30, and it felt like, this is impossible. I can't believe I got up that early.
Yeah.
And things change.
Yeah, things change. Yeah.
So
now it's like 5:30 a.m. and I've got someone like...
Okay, you have it worse than me.
Well,
with the hours. Yeah.
Someone bothering me and...
Yeah.
On a good day.
I guess I have that, but it's Archer. It's my dog.
Mine are harder to ignore.
I mean, he's pretty hard to ignore.
Yeah,
but then
true.
once he's gone out and eaten, then he relaxes.
That's true.
But talking about all this X-Files stuff, it's bringing me back to college in the way that I lived then.
Yeah.
And it was different. It was also, we watched these on DVD or on TV. And I remember, this was...
Oh, and there was, when we get to season 4, was it season 4 where we had the strange...
We ordered it from China, and so some of the episode titles are misspelled, and it's really...
Do you still have all those?
I do.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I remember there's an episode called Musings of a Cigarette Smoking Man, and on mine it was spelled Cingarette.
Oh, yeah.
And it was shaped weird. It played on our DVD players, though.
Yeah.
It was also around the time where, I remember, I think I bought that off eBay, and it was a really long delivery, and I would go and I would check the mail every day, and my postman would be like, it's not here today. I don't have a package for you yet. And I'd be like, I'm waiting,
My God. And like, if you were to order one from Amazon
I
know.
I
mean, it would be there tomorrow.
Or, but we would just
we
stream
wouldn't,
it.
though. Yeah, we would
now
order
I feel like,
yeah.
So we had to stand up and walk to the DVD player and eject it and then put a new disc in. Well, that sounds terrible.
And we still kept watching.
How did we
And
leave?
we did it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is.
Well, thank you for listening.
Watch the episode and
Yeah.
tell us your thoughts
Yeah.
on it. Maybe you'll be like, it's so clear what Billy Miles was up to.
Yes, please.
How
if
did
anyone
you
has
not...
insight into that.
Or theories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And next week, I think Deep Throat is
Yes!
episode
He gets
2.
right into it. I'm
Yes.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
Their informant guy.
Yeah.
Love him.
So episode 2, season 1 is Deep Throat, and we'll be back next week to talk all about it. Thanks!
Thanks. Bye-bye.